Star Wars is getting weirder by the minute, and now it seems the Jedi have got zombies to contend with. So how does that work? Spoilers for Ahsoka Episode 4 ahead. Apparently, Ahsoka likes to have a set amount of villains on retainer. Since Morgan Elsbeth's plan to use the Eye of Sion in order to bring back Grand Admiral Thrawn has now reached hyperspace, the Chiss Chessmaster will likely return sooner rather than later. With Morgan, Baylan Skoll, Shin Hati, and former Inquisitor Marrok still firmly in the mix, it seems that the show runs the risk of suffering a surplus of antagonists. That is, right up until Ahsoka Tano faces Marrok in a forest lightsaber duel. Having already clashed with Ahsoka on Corellia, Marrok enters the fight with the kind of confidence that suggests he's quite unfamiliar with Ahsoka's history with double-blade lightsaber wielders. Indeed, the Jedi Outcast has a track record of defeating opponents like this almost with cheat code level ease, and when Marrok tries to come at her with his lightsaber spin function, he finds this out the hard way. Marrok's demise could be Ahsoka's most absurdly overpowered victory yet. When the former Inquisitor attacks her, she cuts him down with a single lightsaber strike. This even causes Marrok to explode into dusty smoke, as if he got his franchises mixed up and walked into an Avengers movie. It's a freaky moment that may or may not be explained later on, but we already have a decent idea of what may have caused Marrok's dramatic transformation into green mist. It's entirely possible that Marrok was undead all along, and that he was only walking around because of a creepy Night Sister spell called the Chant of Resurrection. Morgan Elsbeth seemed like your average Imperial mini-boss type when she first appeared in The Mandalorian Season 2, but the illusion didn't last long. Not only did she have important information pertaining to Thrawn's possible location, but she wasn't afraid to grab a Beskar spear and face Ahsoka in an intense one-on-one duel. Ahsoka goes on to reveal that Morgan is a Night Sister of Dathomir, which is essentially a witch who can harness the Force as dark magic. As it turns out, Morgan plans to rebuild the Empire with Thrawn as its ruler. The villain's Night Sister heritage could explain several unanswered questions about Marrok's place in the grand scheme of things. It seems clear that Morgan is pretty strong as far as Night Sisters go, and she could very well be powerful enough to use their high-end spells like the Chant of Resurrection. This spell effectively reanimates the dead into zombie-like figures and manifests as, you guessed it, eerie green mist.
Witchcraft.
Aside from explaining Marrok's minimal dialogue and the whole green smoke thing, his undead nature would also explain why an ex-Inquisitor sits further down the pecking order than Baylan's apprentice, Shin. Who would take orders from a magically created zombie, no matter how impressive his villain credentials may be? If Morgan indeed animated Marrok with the Chant of Resurrection, of course, he probably would have found himself in trouble even if he had managed to beat Ahsoka in the duel. Unlike your average zombie, the Star Wars undead suffer very concrete expiration dates, which tend to depend on the Night Sister who performs the reanimation spell. Should Morgan die or simply stop maintaining the spell, the undead Marrok would have fallen instantly. Morgan obviously survives the episode, but her departure from the galaxy at the end of the episode probably would have spelled the end for Marrok. And okay, sure, we've seen Marrok and Morgan operate on different planets, so Morgan's Chant of Resurrection has an impressive range. Still, it must be tied to the person who cast the spell, and Morgan leaving the entire galaxy behind in her search for Thrawn would probably push the chant's limits pretty hard. Even if it didn't, a miserable life as a mist-powered Force zombie doesn't really sound like a sweet gig. In that sense, Ahsoka Episode 4 probably gave Marrok the best ending he could hope for.